Fun one today, fellas. Oh, sound's working. Okay, welcome to the stream. What's happening? Happy Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. I've got some interesting things we're going to do with the product as a service model. Um, we'll get into that. A couple announcements and stuff. First of all, let's link ourselves up to Twitter. And then a couple updates. Note, I am changing the bundles to where if you purchase any of the bundles on the site, whether it be all the templates on the whole site bundle or any of the industry specific bundles or categories, it will be you'll have access to the templates forever, and any templates that ever get added to that file, you will have access to. I think that's a very good thing because I'm really ramping up the model building and I don't want anybody to feel like, well, I don't want to buy the bundle because what about the next couple templates? I won't have access to it. Well, now you are. So, uh, so that's pretty awesome, and it applies to any bundle. The product template we're working on today, product as a service, will be included in the SaaS bulk SaaS template purchase. Once I'm finished with it, it'll be in here. And it also is very similar, but not, I mean, it's kind of similar to product plus service, but this is different. This is adding on a service subscription to sales of a product rather than selling a subscription to use a product. So these two, this one and the one I'm doing now, will both be 75, but if you buy either one of them, you get the other one. So it comes with two. Other stuff, remember the refund policy is updated to where there's no refund, but you can exchange a template essentially it's buy one get one. So if you buy any template and you have an issue or you bought the wrong one for whatever reason, you can get the other pick one template of equivalent value. And this applies to bulk too. If you buy 3 or 4 templates, you can get 3 or 4 other templates for the same for free of the same value. So buy 3 get 3, buy 10 get 10, buy 4 get 4, however you want to do it. Alrighty, well, that's all I got for our announcements. So let's hop into the stream here. We can close this down. Um, so, product plus service. I was thinking about it yesterday and tweeting about it, and I figured there has to be a direct programmable connection between how many products are being purchased or manufactured and ready and when compared to how many customers there are going to be over time. Because it's going to be too hard to try. I mean, you can just say, well, I'm going to make sure, bring in the customer data here and see it by year and make sure you have at least that much each year, but you could still have inefficiencies during the month. And for the purpose of a forecasting model, I think it makes sense to tie the two together. And it will be fractional uh, because we're going to get some amount of usage against the maximum available usage or maximum usage per unit, and that's going to drive how many units are actually purchased in this row or column. I think that's the best way to go about this because then you're not trying to guess and you have to keep changing these to match your customer growth assumptions. It's just the model's gonna automatically say, okay, you've got this many customers at the end of the month, so you need to have this many um, products available. Now the tricky thing here, and I haven't thought, this is why modeling is good. Um, these have a useful life. So in theory, let's say you just had 10 customers forever and that was it, and you just had 10 and they use the same products the whole time. That version would then never re-update if those products ran out of usage or whatever, and you had to replenish your product base. It would just assume um, there's enough. So I believe what I'm going to have to do is add some kind of a timer logic to each customer cohort that counts when they've been there for 84 months, and every time they've passed, or whatever month you put in here. In this case, it's 84. So every time you hit a 84-month milestone, you are going to repurchase however many products you need to service that tranche against how many customers are left in that cohort. And again, they'll have a monthly churn rate, so in 84 months there might not be any customers left of that cohort. I don't know. This model is going to be pretty insane. So there's a lot to do here. So first, before I can tie anything back here, I have to start doing customer count matrices for all three subscriber types since they all have different retention rates. Now, the question is, do we necessarily need to apply a varying retention rate to each of these product tiers? Because that's actually going to be pretty significant in uh, how much logic the template is going to take. If we keep the average life the same for all customers, whatever it might be, so average customer stays for X amount of years, and that's it, and we don't vary it by tier, then we just do one matrix, and we apply all this logic to just the uh, one thing, and it'll just be however many customers are left in the pool, a percentage of them are this, this, and that, and they pay this, this, and that, and it's a bit um, more simple. And I believe we might switch to that since there's so much other stuff we want to focus on with this model. So we're just going to assume there's the average life of a customer is the same no matter what customer tier they're in. Okay, so that's one thing. Now, so we have a matrix for all this purchase schedule stuff here. Um, for the monthly detail, we're going to go matrix 2, and now we definitely go over 120 months and down. So time's going both ways, and this is how we do cohort modeling with customers that have recurring retention rates or their recurring revenue, but they only stay for a certain amount of time. Now this logic is used in all kinds of SaaS modeling. It's very, very good to be able to know how to do this. So we'll go over 120 months at the top. And down, and we have to know the age again. So this is actually, we're going to do the count first. So we say, well, actually, we can't do that until we add new customers each month. So we'll have unit production up top. Well, actually, we're going to do this down because it's going to be driven by customer counts. So let's do another section up here. So we want to say customer pool, beginning count, customers added through paid ads, customers added organic, customer churn, month ending ending customer count. So first of all, let's do our total added customers, and we'll have to actually sum these up because we need to be able to reference one of these rows. Now this matrix style retention logic I've used in a couple of different SaaS models. I've done it in the general mobile app and the enterprise SaaS, I believe, are the two that have it. And then this one will have it. I can't remember what each other ones do. All right, where am I here? Oh, let's unfreeze, freeze here. So customers added through paid ads will be index, and we want to say this number here, customers added per month, and match against the year. And that's that. We could drag that over to the end. And then we also have organic customers. This is where it gets a little tricky. Also, we want to say if this month is less than the start month here, zero it out. So we can trigger. So we can have a trigger for when customers actually begin. So there's that. Now organic, we have some logic here. So we have starting amount, which will be on this month. This is the starting amount. And then we have the growth added per month. So what I do is say if this month equals our start month, then give me this number. Otherwise, if E4 is greater than this, then take the previous month, which would be this cell, times 1 plus the monthly growth rate of the given period, which is this in this case. This and against the year. Otherwise, 0. Now, we just need to lock that one, that, then this can go over. And so we're getting a compounding growth rate on the monthly organic customers that are being added. And let's see if this works. It looks like it is. Let's see. So I'm going to change these numbers. So let's say it's 5% year 1, 10% year 2. Okay, and we know, so our timing logic is working. We're starting in April. We have 6. Then in May, we add a little bit more than that. It should be 5% more. Good, 5. Okay, so that's working. Let's check one more. Okay, good, 5%. And then let's check, we changed the rate in, oh, we don't want all those decimals. Decimals are fine for customer counts. It's a forecast, but we want to make sure it's not a million decimals. Now year 2, we upped the rate to 10%. So let's see if that's changed now in the rate of growth of new added customers. And it looks like it, yep, 10%. Okay, so this is great. This is the customers added per month through paid ads, amount added through organic, and we can now reference this for total new customers added per month. And these customers will be subscribing to gain access to the product set that we have. And we're going to do capacity. Now, what I'm doing, the new thing that I was thinking about was I'm going to tie, well, I don't know. I'm I was thinking to tie the amount you're purchasing or having ready to be deployed, and there could be an offset here as well. If it takes a month to get between when the money goes out and is ready, tying that count to the count of customers, and then looking at the average usage per month of um, the customers against the average usage per unit, and that drives how many new units you have to have working. Now, the problem with that is it doesn't account for having to re-up new units if, let's say, the useful life was only 60 months and we are doing a 10-year model. Well, in month 60 of each cohort, they all need to continue having service. However many are left need to have, you're going to have more products purchased because it doesn't, otherwise, it assumes whenever something comes online, a product, it will be available forever. So there's some tricky things here, and I don't know. I think I really didn't want to do this, but we might not be able to automate. This might have to be manual, and then what I can do is I can pull a monthly schedule going down here that says, here's your capacity each month that you have to have, and then here's what your actual capacity is based on this purchase schedule and the useful life. And I think that's the only way, and it's going to be kind of clunky, but I don't see any other way. So when you go and change your customer counts and their growth and all that, you'll have to match that and make sure that the capacity you have based on this is always more than what your customers are demanding. Otherwise, you'll be out of sync. So I can do some cool conditional formatting and formulas so that is as easy as possible, but I can't directly link the customers to drive this number here. This has to be a manual input, and you just have to measure it. So I think that's the best way to do it. So that's what's going to happen. Well, welcome on in, guys. Happy to see you in here. Um, Feel free to comment, give any thoughts. It can be about anything, doesn't have to be about this specific model. Uh, I'm open to talk about any past models I've done, any suggestions, customizations, or customizations for this model, or ideas or thoughts on kind of how we're thinking about this. So, okay, so let's continue on. Now we have the customer count, so I can say we now want to know when these customers joined in our matrix here. So we say if um, this month here equals the month here, then we want to know the total new customers added. And this is very tricky, clever logic. And it's very, very valuable to do this algorithm I'm about to do. I've done it for a lot of different templates, a lot of builds, and been paid many thousands of dollars to do this. And it's pretty basic logic as far as it applies to almost anything that has to have a retention rate over time and cohorts. And you need to measure how that cohort changes over time, the value of it, the count, all that stuff. All right, so if A2, which is can't go over, equals monthly E3, which is our month number here on this timeline, we want to lock that so it doesn't go down. And if that is the case, we want to pull the new customers in E10, otherwise 0. Now, here you can see there's our nice timeline matrix. We can see how many customers are added in each month and when. We'll give them 1 decimal here. And we drag this over for 120 months and down 120 months. So this is really good to see new customers and when they joined. Okay, so here's that. I want to do labels here. Count joined. Next up, we need to know, so if we look at our revenue assumptions, we have different variations for the amount they're paying depending on when they joined. So this is another tricky one with cohort modeling. So we have the monthly price. Now the question is, does this monthly price change for all customers no matter what? And I believe the answer is yes here because in the general literature, if you read about product as a service, it is month-to-month contracts, so there's no long-term contracts here. I guess, I mean, it depends. You could obviously have enterprise customers that pay you in 12-month terms to use a product for whatever amount of time, but the larger use case would be just month-to-month contracts. Now, I can do custom work if you were to have that, but I think that's a more rare case, so I'm not going to put that in the master model. Well, while we're here, I guess this is the time to do it. I could make it either, so we could say length of the contracts, and it could be if it's month to month, the number would just be one, and if it was like 6 month contracts, it would be six. Now, I'm trying to think how that would affect or impact the usage, because you would have to guarantee you have enough product to handle that demand for the contract length. Does that make sense? Because I know the logic we can easily implement to make the contract term variable. It could be 1 month, 12 months, 18 months, 6 months, whatever. And then at the end of every period, there's a renewal rate based on this. But then we'd have to say the average. We'd have to do a renewal rate rather than a monthly churn. Yeah, I think it's more rare that it's not month to month, so we'll just keep it month to month as the base logic. And so that means we just reference this dynamically depending on the year. We don't need a dynamic year, or we do need a dynamic age for sure of each cohort, and I believe that's what we'll do next. Because we need to know the age to know how many customers are left at a given point in a cohort. So let's do that. So we got count joined here. We're gonna do 8. Oh shoot. Age. What's going on, guys? Welcome on in here. Welcome in, welcome in. Age of cohort. So here I want to count as long as it's older or after the date. So I say if this is greater than 0, then 1, otherwise 0. So there's my initial logic, and then I wrap that around and I say if the previous month is greater than 0, then do that plus 1. And now we'll have dynamic ages for all the cohorts. And what we can do is look up that number against a churn or a retention schedule, which we'll build here next, and get the amount of customers left. So here on the validation, we'll go retention. So at 1 month, it's 100%. So we percentages. At 2 months, it will be, now let's think about this. Do we care about, yeah, because this could, technically we're saying if a customer joins, say in month 4, their average life might be, say, 6.5 years. And this just says you're improving your retention of customers over time. So I'm trying to think how I did this in a different model. I guess we'd have to look up, we'd have year one through year 10. And what we do, so this is going across the top, so the years, and then we have the months going over here, and we have the starting rate. So it's always at month one, you're always at 100%. In month two, we're now going to say we're at this minus the monthly amount churned here, and that's targeting the assumptions. We go down, the max is going to be like 120. And then you can see I'll dynamically reference this table when I look at the matrix to figure out how many customers are left of each monthly joined cohort. And that will be able to reference the total customers that exist at any one time. And then I can use that to figure out how many minutes of capacity I need. And then you could drive your product purchase based on that. So then here I do a calculation where it's max of this minus this minus that, and we lock the top two because it's just a linear depreciation of customers, and I want the max of that or 0. I think I need another decimal or parenthesis in here. So I want D3 minus the difference between D2 and 3, and those locked. Okay, and then it can't go below 0, so there's my monthly churn rate, and you can see here it lasts for, and month 73 you're at 0. Now does that make sense? Well, let's look at our churn rate, 6 years. How many months is 6 years? 72. So here, 72, that's when we end up, so that makes perfect sense. If we were to change this to say my average customer life is 3 years, now month 36 is the end month, and you can see here this will update. Now I have 0% left after 36. And the idea behind this is, and we could do this for all these, just drag it over and down. And you can see how these vary. We had the longer one in month 4, I said. So that one's lasting a little bit longer. But the theory is the average life of a customer, if we say it's 3 years, that means between the time they sign up and the end of year 3, we're saying that on average they're going to be gone. But we don't know exactly when they leave in that time. So what this does is just gives a monthly churn rate and says, well, you're going to lose an even amount of that initial cohort every month until the end of year 3, and then it'll be 0. If you had dynamic curves for your retention, you could just go into this validation tab and manually put in what amount of customers are left at each month point, because then I'm going to run a lookup that says what's the year, what's the month, and this is percentage will give me how many is left of the total that joined every month. So that logic right there that I just explained is insanely valuable to anybody in the SaaS industry that's doing any kind of modeling that's even semi-related to this. Very, very valuable. All right, so there's that. We're going to need to know the year. Let's just go to the monthly detail and reference the year, and not any dynamic year, just the year of the forecast period. And now what I can do is say, look up the age. So we go copy, let's get another 120 months here. Remaining customers. And what I can say here is get the age. We want to do an index of the schedule here. And the percentage I actually want to pull is, let's see, the row number is based on the age of the customer. So we want to match that with the age here. So there's the reference. Here's the target lookup array. That, and then for the column, I want to do another match formula, and I just want the year of, not the year of the age of the customer. I want the actual, well, hold on a second. We do need the year. Let me pause this formula here. We do need the year. So we need the age in months. Well, for the year, I can just do a lookup, or I mean a division problem. I can say match, and my lookup value for the year is going to be the age in years. To get that, we do round up 12 divided by the age, comma 0. So that's my lookup value, and then I'm looking up that value against the year number here and 0. Now what that should give me is the percentage, and that's fine. That's error right now because there's no customers in the first month. But we want to multiply that by the max of the total customers that joined in the cohort. And that's the formula. And if we lock these, validation, we need to lock everything there. That can go. This locks, this we don't need, the matrix reference. And lock our whole index array. Now, we can wrap this also with an if error. Now when we drag this down, we should get remaining customers of each cohort. So here, look at this. We had month 4, 45.4 joined, which now hold, wait a second. This should be 46. Month 5. All right, why are we 0 here? Age 1 month. Max of this. Let me look at my round up. Is that, it should be rounding up to 1. Or 12. Ah, okay, hold on. We just flipped them around. So it's not, it's the age in months divided by 12, not 12 divided by the age. All right, let's try that again. There we go. So you got 46, and then you have X% less each month based on that thing, the retention curve. And then we know how many customers are remaining by just aggregating all of this. Super valuable doing this. And we just drag this over to get the full amount for the whole time. So of the whole cohort of all customers, this is how many exist at the end of each month. And this doesn't need to be decimal because we get too high here for the numbers. And that's it, based on your churn and your customer acquisition channels. Now, if we go to our monthly detail, so we have beginning is going to start with 0, and then you have added, the churn, which we'll have to do, and then the ending count is going to be beginning count plus added minus churned. Now this ending count is what we use to figure out capacity used of products based on um, average minutes used per tier. So we'll have to break all these customers up into their different tiers, which is fine. So this is, we'll label this consolidated customer pool. There's that. Now to get the churn, we have to do another matrix tab. And welcome guys, welcome on in. Hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. We're just doing some financial modeling here. Okay, churn. So to get churn off of this, I take the difference between each month on the remaining customers. And you can see how we can then reference all of these numbers to get, and then reference the assumptions for pricing and all of that to get the revenue we're going to earn from selling subscriptions to for access of the products. One second here, I need to update my phone so I could see. Why isn't this updating? Oh well, I guess it's not that important. Let me try to do a test. Did that go through? Test. Oh, there it updated. Okay, perfect. So to get the churn, what we do is simply take, well, let's just look at the first month. We have a customer loss here. So we say 46 customers joined here. We have 44.7 left after 1 month. So this is, let's see, 4 and 5. So I want to see 4 and 5. So on this month, what do? Well, just take the difference between these two, and that's how many were lost. And now we can't just drag this over, and obviously for the first month there's never churn because it's month 1, it's always 100%. So if we just drag that formula like it was over and down, we got negatives here. So we have to do another max. The min-max, like I can't even explain. So the most powerful function I believe in Excel for modeling is probably sum ifs if I had to pick one. And then after that, the min and max are so powerful for doing dynamic modeling. So for this one, I want a max of whatever this value is and 0. So I have no minimums in this case, or no negative numbers now. And there's my churn. And like we did a percentage, even percentage each time. Now, question though, why is this 0? Okay, there's definitely something off on that because that should not be going up. Let's see. Okay, so this is we're getting hung up on the year the cohort joined. So I was doing the month age of the month divided by 12, rounded up. So this should be 2. Anything 12 or less should be 1. 13 is 2. So this is odd. I'm getting. Let's just look at the formula and make sure it's working right. So we go round up. I should be getting 2 here. Okay, so that's actually fine. But something is off. Times the max of the first cohort. Yep, that's right. Indexing that. So let's see what percentage we're actually getting if we take out this. Okay, 83%. Now, if I get 83% in month 13 for the first cohort, 83, month 13, no, it should be 67. So why am I getting 7? That is the question, because I should be indexing this. I should be getting the month and then the year, and that should be going, what did I say, month 13, year 1. Oh, wait. Wait. Haha. No, it is not. We don't care the age in years. We care about the age when they joined. We want to know when they joined. Okay. And this is why it takes, this is why modeling is good. You figure these things out. Um, so we want not round up the age here divided by 12. We want to know, let's see, how do we dynamically get the year? Let's think about this. I want the year joined. So I want to get this year here based on when this number hit. So when there's a number in here, give me the year up top is what I want. It's tricky, tricky, tricky. Let's think here. You know what? It's no big deal. We'll just do another set of 120 for that, and we can just put it down here. Year joined. Now for this, we simply say if this is greater than 0, then give me the year. And that's all I want. So that little piece of logic is all I needed to do, but I had to do it dynamically, so we got to do another matrix. So B4. So now you can see here, I can always know what year each one joined. And reference that in my other formula. Because we want to look up year 1 for the whole life of that cohort. Because the churn rate, we're saying this churn rate or the average life is 3 for every customer that joined in year 1. In year 2, their life is different, their average life. In year 3, their average life is different. Year 4, it could be different. So if it's different, we want to know, okay, give me this schedule for everybody in year 1. Even if it's year 6, you want to still know, well, where are they at in their life if they're year 1 customers. Okay, so remaining customers, instead of looking up this, I simply go give me the max value of this new schedule we just did. You're joined. And that will do it. Can we lock the letters? Okay, now let's drag this over, down, and there we see proper remaining customers. And if we go to our churn, it now will make sense. We're losing the same amount every month because it's even loss. Oop. So if we go here, 1.3 every month based on our schedule, based on this. And again, you could manually change it if you think for whatever you have data that says, well, after X months we have this many customers left. After 3 months we have this many. You could manually do this, and it would flow through. So it doesn't have to be a straight line. This is just um, the default is a straight line. Let's drag this all the way over. And we can do a test once we finish this and say, okay, does my ending customer count match if these are the customers lost versus gained? Which it will, and then that's another sanity check we can do to make sure the calculations are done right. All right, so that all that work was to get this churn number here, plug it in here. This is how many are lost, and we're gonna go no decimals on this. Okay, let's check this. Is this so we have beginning customers? No, hold on. So this has got to be equal to ending customer count. Spelling error. And then this equals that, plus that, minus that. Okay. Yeah, we had not put in the beginning customers at the top. So there are 5. So it's saying if we add this many customers, we lose this many over time. We end up with 5,969 at the end. And this is where things really start to come together here. You'll see how the model really is thinking. We want to make sure that number 5,000 matches this ending number, 5,969. Perfect. And remember, we got that number by just doing the total starting customers in each cohort less their retention curves, and then aggregating that effect over time. So that looks good. So we know this is the customer pool of all customers. Now, we can't do unit production yet because we have to break this customer count into the different pools. And since like and now you can see why I did one churn rate for all customers, because now we can apply that customer count to all these other things dynamically without having to do 2 more full matrix tabs, which is nice. So we're coming together here. We need this same logic, except for now this will be tier 1. Let's see, tier 1, 2, and 3 is what we need. 2, 3. And I can just simply take the amount we're assuming customers added through paid ads. Of those customers added, what percentage are tier 1 customers? Well, we have that defined here for each year. So 25% of all added customers through paid ads and free organic are going to be tier 1. So we index that and match the year against this. Yeah, I believe that was the year. So, and then let's just lock these so we can paste it down. So that's going to be there. And then customers add organic, same formula, but go down one here. It's still 21. So there's that. And then we could go copy this down to tier 2 and simply adjust. This is now going to be 22 for that percentage. So tier 2 customers are coming from row 22 on the assumptions. And then let's go tier 3 is row 23. And you can see I'm referencing these rows here, 21, 2, 3. So I want to know of all the customers coming in, how many are tier 1, 2 versus 3. And since they have the same retention rates, we can just use this consolidated schedule here to figure out how many we gained and lost over time. So that's how many were gained. Now if we drag this over, let's think through this to make sure we're doing it, not messing up and losing any logic. So added, total added, now lost. This should be directly proportional. So the lost amount, we should be able to just take this and we multiply the total churned by 21. This will be times 22. And 23. And that should match if we add up all this. So this plus that should equal this number all the time. Let's see. And well, let's first drag all these over so we get a full range. Okay, so we know how many customers exist in each tier. Now these always should match. If we drag over, and it looks like they all do. And then also, if we do our total ending count, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. This should equal the consolidated at the top, which it does. Okay, perfect. And so that's one way to do a recurring customer waterfall, and with a one consolidated pool with a retention rate that has 3 different types of customers in it that are mutually exclusive. Now, if they're not mutually exclusive, I guess you could just put in higher than 100% here and manually override this, but then your numbers wouldn't, you'd have, you couldn't add these 3 up and get the total because you could have, of these 46, technically all 46 could be paying tier 1, 2, and 3. But in this case, they're mutually exclusive. We have the amounts. So now we can say all we really need to know is the ending customer count in each tier to get our revenue. So for revenue, subscription revenue. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. All I do is take all the customers in Tier 1 and figure out how much they're paying per month, which is going to be this. And remember, they're not paying $4 forever. The price is going to change per year depending on whatever year you're in. So we simply say here is Tier 1. And let's see, we need to lock. That can go down. Lock this and this. So Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. And then this references Tier 2. This references Tier 3. So this is how much subscription revenue we're making, and this is going to be really important to figure out, you know, is it worth it based on how much it costs to output the products, um, and maintain them, or all those costs against the amount of revenue you're collecting from people subscribing to gain access to the product. So there's that number. So we have our subscription revenue, first big piece of data here, based on the ending customer counts of each tier. So let's see, we've accounted for this, we've accounted for this, and all of this. We have not done average minutes used per month, so that number is going to be really important because that's got to be compared against what you've built out to see if you have enough capacity to service all of the customers with the products that you have. So subscription revenue, we're getting closer to being able to do unit production now. Let's do product usage in minutes. So here I want to take the total ending customer count times, and we want to get the total minutes per month per customer. So we go there, dynamically per year. And so here's our demanded capacity based on the customers added over time. Need to lock this. Okay. And then this needs to be tier 2 customers and tier 3. So I know how many minutes in total are being used across all customers. And I need to make sure I have enough products to service that. And that's where you have to match. So then we'll match that with the build out, and we'll pull in this number into the build out assumptions here by month. So you can figure out how many products you need to have built and ready or purchased over time. And we can include the useful life. So after 60 months, a given purchase cohort is going to go to 0. So that has to be taken into account when we figure out our actual available capacity compared to the demanded capacity. And those two should be pretty close over time. Otherwise, you can't service all the revenue that you're having if you have too much demand and not enough available products. And then you can see how this model is really good to figure out like a lot of capital requirements, how much revenue you might be able to make, how much it's going to cost to build out a product set to be able to handle that demand. So here you can see in year 10, we have 1.4 million minutes of demanded usage. We're making $62,000 a month. So that needs to make sense with how much it costs to get these products, that many products available to service that many minutes based on the average minutes per product per month. So we're getting to a really cool point in the model where things are starting to make sense. Today we did all the customer pool stuff. We did recurring revenue or retention rate modeling for all the customer tiers. We've got total revenue, recurring revenue, product usage. So now unit production. So what we want to do is say, so this is production. We want or product usage. We want to know how many minutes do we have available, and we'll do this right here because this is where you're going to have to play with the numbers if you're using this model. So available minutes by month, and we'll go month number. So we want to see the full spectrum all up to 120 months. And note the stuff on the left there is not directly months. You can define the month of each purchase tranche, and that will affect this. But we have up to 176 unique purchase tranches. So to know the amount of available minutes, we're going to have to go to the other matrix we already did. So we did this the first yesterday. So we have the age of the tranche, we have if it's active or not, and then based on that, we have capacity each month. So this is really cool. Here's our capacity number we need to pull over time. Now you can see in month 109, we actually drop off and have no capacity because of this useful life here of 60 months. So this will all have to be planned to kind of make sense in this context. So for here, available minutes, we'll do an index formula and just pull this number. If our month in, what is this, L4 matches this month number. Now I should be able to drag that down. And watch how this changes as I change the build out assumptions here, but let me lock this first so this can't go down. L4 can go, and this cannot go down. So there's my minutes, and you can see they're going up, 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 but then they're starting to fall off as this useful life is taken into account. So let's say the useful life is 5 years. And I'm trying to think of how somebody's going to actually model this. So watch this. If we buy, let's say 0 or 1 in month 1, if we buy 1 in month 2, watch the month 1 capacity should drop. So 172, and let's say the unit count was only 1 here. So this all changes dynamically. I could put, let's just kind of so you can see. Let's say we buy 1 product or we manufacture 1 product a month, and well 1 tranche a month with 1 unit a month. So you can see how this is building up the capacity. Now, if we did like 5 units of this second tranche, watch how much the capacity will go up for month 2. It goes from 43,200 to now 129,000 minutes worth. So this is dynamic. And what we need to know is, okay, here's our available minutes. Let's look at our demanded minutes. And we want to basically get close to that and not go under it. So demanded minutes, we take this number that we just figured out on the monthly detail here. Demanded minutes, I'll have to change this is the wrong title, but that's fine. Match, and I match the month here with the month on our model here and get the demanded minutes based on, and this is all, the demanded minutes is going to be completely based on when our customers begin, when the start month is for that, how much we're spending on ads to acquire customers, what our organic growth is, and how many minutes on average each customer from each tier will use per month of the product that they're buying a subscription to. So let's lock this so we can drag it down. And here's where we get real fancy and we say, okay, demanded minutes, we can say the difference. Man, this is so cool. This is really cool. Anybody that's in this industry, I guarantee you this model is going to be helpful. Or looking to just have their products offer subscription access rather than just selling them. Okay, difference. So here we want the difference between, so if there's more demand than available, we want it to be negative. In this case, we have way more available minutes than demanded, so we can say difference, percentage of capacity used. So that's going to be a amount used divided by available. So here's our actual like efficiency, and this is not very efficient. We're only using 11% of the available capacity of all the products. And let's put, and then we go up to, we basically never even get above 15%. So that's pretty inefficient. We want to adjust our purchase schedule better because we're wasting a lot of money there. And then what's really cool is we can figure out, well, based on how much we spent to acquire these products or get them and how much revenue we're getting from the subscriptions, what's our return on investment for this? And then we're also going to add in like administrative costs, maybe any storage costs to wherever you're going to have the products sit that they can be accessed. All kinds of different costs here. So there's going to be a lot that we do with this model, but this is the base logic. I think that's the most important. So look at this. We never even get over, 18% usage. We don't even get up above 20. So what that means is, well, we are buying way too many. We have too many products. We're wasting money here based on what our expected demand is. We'll put, so there's 28% in month 7. Let's see. So if I were to try to meet this, let's see. We could put in suggested units available or suggest. Uh, well, we'd have to divide. Let's see. Because technically, this maximum minutes a unit could be different for each tranche, but in general, it's probably going to be the same because it's the same product. Um, so we really don't want to vary this. And I don't believe this is used anywhere anyway. Wait, yes, no, no, it is. This is dynamically going to the matrix, so we can't, we have to have that. I'm trying to see if I can do some formula that says, okay, here is a suggested amount of units to have available. But it's going to be dependent on this number here. If these are all different, then it's going to be different. Let's just assume they're the same. So we can go, it would be total demand here divided by this. Okay, and then what we want to say is number, so suggested available units. It's a good one. I'll put one decimal there. So here we can see, well, actually, can I pull the actual units available? Where's that at? Do we have that somewhere? We have total purchased. I have capacity, but do I have a count somewhere? Active or not? Age. It looks like I don't, but I believe I could do the calculation because I want to see how many units are available over time. So let's try and do this here. Because I want to compare how many we have against the suggested amount, and then that can inform you on like how many you should be purchasing over time. So this, I think I can do if it's active. So if this equals 1 is active, then I want to get the purchased amount. Where can I figure this out at? We might not have enough data to do it. We might need to add more metadata here. So we need to know how many were actually purchased. Or wait a second, is there an easier way to do this? We can sum up. No, because this is dynamic over time based on the start month. I need to know how many units are active. So active units. Sum ifs. I want to use a sum if here and get the total unit count if this purchase month or deployment month is equal to the year, which we didn't put in here. Let's put that in. Okay. Now, only if I only want that number if this equals 1, because that's the first month. Otherwise, 0. And then that should give me the total units purchased. Let's see, can we drag this over? Oh, no, we need to lock column D and C on the build out. Okay, otherwise 0. And then let's say we add 1, 2, 3, or 2, and then 3, and then 4. 2, 3, 4, that should be represented here. So 2, where's 3 at? 3 should be coming in at month 5. Why am I not getting month 5 here? Oh wait, these are tranches going down. Hold on, hold on. This is I was thinking we're in a thing where we're going over and down on the months. So this tranche, all I need to do is say if the month number here equals the tranche here, then pull this number. That's it. That should be it. And let's see now. So, yep, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4. Okay. So those are purchased amounts or amounts active. And we want to know if this is greater than or equal to. Give me that number. Also, if this is 0, give me nothing, because that means it's not no longer active. Okay, let's try that. Now we're gonna have to do some testing to see if this makes sense, but I think it does. Go down. So this is in theory saying 508, but let's see, are these falling off? They are. Okay. So that makes sense. It's pulling the count purchased or deployed as long as the month number is greater than or equal to the deployment month, but then if it's not active, it goes to 0. So that makes sense. So we've got 508 active here, and that is adjusting based on the purchased amount. Okay, because really we've purchased, 693, but they only have a useful life of 60 months. Now, if the useful life were 120 months, in that case, we should be active for the whole time for everything, which we are. Okay, so good. So that's working. And in that case, we're at 693 here, which is the total unit count, 693. Okay, so we are sound here in the logic. It does make sense. That's good. What did I just do here? Oh, let's put these back to maybe 60-month life. So we have active units now. We can reference this. So we want 537. So let's go here. We want row 537. What's going on, guys? We're just deep in the trenches here modeling. We're real close to having a um, nice set of data here for this model. Nice logic. So this is of available units. So we have the month number, we have available minutes, we have demand in minutes, the difference, the percentage of the capacity that's actually being used, suggested units, which we may have to adjust this, but then we have available units. And you can see this 2468 matches 2468 as you add them each month. Or if we added these all in month, like if this were month 1 or month 3, you can see now we've only got 2 units available until month 3, which we then buy more or have more available. So this is really cool how this is working. Let's keep thinking about this. So we have this available unit count we need to measure against, because the point is I wanted to make it easier to see what you have versus what's demanded. And I mean, we can see that in minutes, demanded minutes versus available for sure. However, the main input here is the unit count. So I wanted to distill it down into units available versus suggested. Now the suggested is kind of odd. It's based on this maximum minutes a unit can be used for, but that's a variable. So we can't really compare the total demanded minutes against this. So I'm trying to think what would make sense here. What's going on, everyone? I know normally I don't stream this long, but really trying to get through this logic because I think it's really cool. Um, okay, so what? So this makes perfect sense up to here, and you can see we're way under capacity, and then we actually run out of capacity because these are purchased later. But we've purchased too much, so let's put this back down to 1. Let's just do 1 the whole time, and then let's say this keeps going forward for a bit. Um, let's see how many months. Okay, so that available is still going down too far. Let's keep moving this out. Okay, so now we're getting better. So you can see here we're at like 50, 40% utilization, 57. So that means of what we have available for product usage and what we have demanded based on the customers that are being added over time, there's a 50% usage here, so that's good. Um, I want to figure out how we can get the suggested available units number right. The available units make sense. This number is a good number. And again, we are taking into account useful life of these things so they can run out and you have to buy more um, in a new tranche. But I'm trying to think, this suggested available units is trying to say based on what the customer demands. I mean, the only way to really make this make sense is we have to assume each unit has the same maximum minutes. This can't be varied over time if we want to get this number. But if we want to say, well, we buy X units, Y units, Z type of units, and we want to vary them, they might cost different, but they also might have different um, maximum usage times for whatever reason. And if you have a variable maximum minute here, you can then get that differentiation. So I'm really stuck trying to figure out what's better. Do we want to be able to output the suggested available units, or are we okay and have this just be one input, or do we want this dynamic input here to account for different types of products being purchased that have different capacities and prices? I believe that the answer is the latter. We got to clear this out, and this row here is your Bible. This is the Bible. So let's put this. What's a nice color here? This is telling you how many products do you have available versus how much capacity do you have available versus how much is being demanded. Any negative number means you are not meeting demand. And let's make this a conditional format here. So we want to say anything that's greater than 0 is green, and then anything that's less than 0 is red. Okay. Now, let's just play with some numbers here. Let's say um, we have customers starting in month 3. They come on, this is demanded minutes. We have 86,000 available minutes based on this purchase schedule here. So there's only 13% usage rate. What if we say And I get it's really sometimes it's easier for people to see things, including myself, if we just start from scratch here and zero these out. So let's say, okay, there's nothing purchased, but let's say we want to buy some stuff to get ready for these customers in month 4. So let's say in month 3, so month 3, this is a purchase month, we buy 1 unit. Well, we now have 21,000 available minutes per month. So here's our available minutes based on the units purchased here. And here's our demand based on this customer curve of growth and acquisition, which is all based on, we've got monthly growth, we've got churn, all this stuff is being calculated to figure out demanded minutes. So we have all that coming through to our build out number here, demanded minutes. Now, when do I go negative? Here, oh wait, so this is negative, hold on, what am I doing here? N, demanded minutes divided by available. So if it's over percentage of capacity used, so you're over capacity. So hold on, let's adjust this formula. This needs to be conditional formatted if it's over 100. So if it's greater than 1, it needs to be red. And let's manage the rules actually. What do we have here? So hold on, let's just redo all the rules. Okay. So no rules, let's redo this. So we want to say if it's greater than 100%, that means we have more demand, so that's bad. That means we're redlining zero or red. Now, if we have less than 1, that's good. You have available capacity. However, you don't want that to be too low. But I'm just doing red versus green saying, okay, I have enough products or I don't have enough products. So here, I don't have enough. I need to add more. We need to add 240 minutes, 10,000, whatever. So let's say we add another unit here in month, let's say, what is this, month 5? So then that gives me another couple months, and then I get almost the capacity here, month 7. So month 7, let's say I add another unit. You can see the pattern here. Every 2 months I need to add a unit. And then my capacity is getting close to 100%, but never going up. So if I were to, let's just extrapolate this out over time, and you can see, oh, in the green here, I'm in the most efficient situation is when you're getting this number as close to 100% as you can. Now, it's never going to be perfect, and the model's never going to be exactly, predicting the future, but you can say, well, if I do add this many customers and they have to use this many minutes of the product per month, how am I able to handle that, and how much is that going to cost? How much revenue am I going to make from those customers? So let's continue with this pattern here. See here, we got to go. We want this whole thing to have to be above 0 and below 1. So we continue buying, continue buying, continue buying. You see our numbers getting, now here we are over, so the model only goes for 120 months. So let me see, question here is month 62, why are we out? Oh, I guess because all these products are now starting to fall off. So these have a 60-month useful life. Let's say that it had an 80-month life. Now we go a little bit further. We get to month 80. Interesting pattern here. So this 60 is kind of defining when we run out because now these units are coming out. We have to buy more units on top of handling the increased demand. So we got to buy more units for customers that are still existing, plus new customers that are coming on. And again, we have a churn rate, so we can say the average life of these users. If the average life were 3 years instead of 6, you can see how this will change. Now look at the capacity. You're much lower, and you almost last the whole way. So you can see how all these assumptions kind of work together. Let's think about this. So in this case, we're continuing to grow, but these initial ones are falling off. So in month 60, I need to start, or 59, I probably got to start buying two. And let's put this back to an average of, let's say, a 6-year life on average for a customer. And remember, we were getting stuck around month 60. Now, let's see what's happening here. Month 28, we have too much demand, not enough. That's because I had 3-year in the first year. I'm just trying to get back to that original scenario. Okay, there we go. So yeah, we're running out in month 67. We need to start buying 2 units instead of one every other month. And you can see this now. Okay, we're getting lasting longer. Continue this idea of buying two all the way to month 120. And that should, so we're still running out in month 106 because the customer growth rate, that organic growth rate is just really going up high because it's a compounding growth rate. This one here, let's put this back down to say 2. That might be enough actually. Yeah, so if we had that growth rate at 2, you can see we're actually in the green the whole time at, we hit what, 80% here, 80, 60s. So we don't actually need as many. We can go 1 here for a while longer. Let's go 1 all the way down. Does that work? Nope. We barely hit it in month 113. So 113, we need to buy a couple more or have a couple more deployed. And there we go. So this is awesome. This is one of the most useful templates I think I've done. And we've got a lot. This is just the base assumptions to figure out like CapEx and revenues. But this is really cool. Let me remove the formatting on this. I love this. This is awesome. This is what modeling is really all about is building stuff like this. So you have some idea of what is going on here. And you're not just guessing about your assumptions. Now, if I were to go to the revenue and change the customer growth expectations, the churn rate, the average amount of minutes used per month per tier of customer, then all of that will affect the demanded minutes, and then that will be, you'll have a different percentage here. But this is really cool. So I'm happy with all this. This is the most complex of the logic. The next step we'll do is just building out the monthly detail um, down to cash flow. We'll do an annual detail. I'll add formal financial statement, income statement, balance sheet, cash flow. And remember, what a product as a service model is doing is transferring your products the uh, from inventory to the fixed assets. That's where, because if you were just buying and selling products, they hit inventory, then they leave. In this case, they hit fixed assets and stay there, and you essentially are renting them out to customers or you're providing a service where you're using those products as your service, and hence product as a service. Okay, this model is awesome. So if you want to check it out, once I finish it, I will post it here on the SaaS bundle on smarthelping.com. It's going to be probably $75 one-time fee. I'm going to add it in conjunction with this product plus service model. So either one you buy, you'll get the other one. And don't forget to check out more templates. I've got all kinds here that use lots of advanced logic like this. You can buy everything I've ever built for $9.99. You can buy stuff in category or individually as well. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.